Okay.
Let's call ourselves to order. It's 5 o'clock. And if everyone would join me in a moment of silence and think particularly of Chad Clevenger, who was one of our SROs who was killed in a motorcycle accident recently. So, thank you. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay.
We'll call a roll. I'm present. Dr. O'Neill.
Present.
Mr. Heater is absent this evening. He may be trying to call in. Mrs. Bales? Present. Mrs. Barnes-Griffin? Present. Mr. Irvin?
Present.
Mr. Lowe?
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Kwiatkowski?
I'm waiting to see what's happening with our screen.
Do you have visuals?
Well, we don't really have visuals, but usually, oh, we don't, because we don't have visuals? Okay. Well, hello, everybody. I just wanted to make sure, so if we don't need visuals, we're good. We have the agenda, but some people that are watching at home, Dr. Harvey, they sometimes still like to follow through, seeing it up there. And our folks in the audience, too, they may want to look up on screen. Just a couple updates I want to share with you. Thursday at Southside, we have Fan Fest that's coming out, where we're going to be offering physicals, vaccinations, all sorts of materials and resources for our students and their families. And the Lieutenant Governor is going to meet with Meridian Health along with me before that meeting. So that will be a good afternoon for us. This morning, we had a cabinet meeting and we identified a couple dates where we're going to really push out registration. What I want all families to know is they can come any day to this building and register. We're open all the time, and we're happy to register folks. When school's open and it's the school hours and principals are back in the middle school, secondary, the 23rd, and Chuck, help me when the elementaries are back, the 26th, right? Or they're
It's the 23rd.
okay.
The 23rd for elementary. It's really 16th.
So the 16th for secondary, 23rd for elementary. Schools are open. Families can go during the day and register. But we're going to have registration events on the July 28th and 29th from 1 in the afternoon until 6 at night. And then on the 30th, from 8 in the morning until 1 in the afternoon. And we'll be pushing those out. And we have a flyer that's going to be, or a postcard that's going to be mailed home, and we'll get those dates on there. And so even though we say those are our registration dates, we want to be convenient and open for when people can attend. We also are going to try something else new this year, and we are going to set up a booth at the Delaware County Fair. Now, I think Brad just really wanted to go and, order a few corn dogs or something, but we're going to be there registering families. That's in the evenings from 4 o'clock until 9 o'clock. So we'll try that, and we'll see how well that works. We also have kickoff to kindergarten that begins July 26th through 30th. So if any of you have know a family that has a kindergartner and they have not signed up for kickoff to kindergarten, that would be a great time to help them get in our schools, get acclimated, feel comfortable within our environment, and have a good time that week. And so we have that going on as well. And then lastly, last year with COVID, our school times were adjusted slightly because, they were adjusted because we did a modified block schedule at the secondary level. So this year we're going to be going back to our normal times. So elementary hadn't changed. We will doors open with breakfast in the classroom at 7:45. Tardy bell is at 8:10 and dismissal at 2:40. Middle schools, the doors open, breakfast in the classroom at 8:40, tardy bell 9 o'clock, dismissal at 4. And at the high school, they come in and they actually can grab and go breakfast, take it with them to their classroom if they like, at 7:40, tardy at 8:05, and dismissal at 3:05. Max time stayed the same at 7:55 and 10:30, and then 12:25 and dismissal at 3 o'clock. And so we're excited to get a little bit of more of a normalcy back into our schedule. Our middle schools are going back to their 7-period days, but as you heard from our high school, they'll be moving to a block schedule this year.
Okay. Anything further for Dr. Kwiatkowski? Any questions?
The Lieutenant Governor and you and Meridian, are they just talking about healthy families?
Healthy families. They're very excited about how we have the health center at Southside and just wanting to learn more about that. I think that's a model they'd like to see other schools adopt. And so the conversation just will be, what's happening with that and how we're trying to assist families, students, and the community.
Any additional questions? And for the benefit of our folks watching this evening, we will be finalizing, or at least receiving, a recommendation on reopening at our second meeting in July. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any additional questions? Okay, we will, any public comments on the list? Yes.
Rick Yentzer, former newsman and author. I've got business interest in this community. Came to my attention, and along with the public last month, the Muncie School is going to take in the YM. And I haven't got a lot of detail of whether public money is going to be used, which it shouldn't, and why a public school corporation would take in a members-only group. I recall, it's been 10 years ago that...
Well, let me stop you there. That's not
Can I
active.
finish my comment and then you can
No,
respond?
I'm going to correct your misimpression right now.
Well,
There is no,
correction,
there is,
because
yes,
has been a lot of information.
no. The Y is not going to take, the MCS is not taking in the YM. This is a joint venture with two independent entities. No public money is going to be used. This is in a very preliminary stage, and it is being done in a manner which is fully consistent with what's occurred in other public school systems within the state of Indiana, including Westfield. So At this point, when you start saying taking in, you're spreading misinformation.
That's not exactly correct, Jim.
No, it is
The
correct.
problem is that you're using public land for this project, and that is the public business.
And a decision has been made, and it's perfectly consistent with Indiana law. If you object to it, that's fine.
Well, can I finish?
You may.
Okay. Well, the public land is basically all we know at this point, and I'm glad you clarified that no public funds will be used. As far as I'm concerned, and others have thought too, why the schools should promote a members-only group. I remember a decade ago that the government out west here in Yorktown said they were going to build a public sports facility, and they did nothing more than turn it over to the Y and Munciana Volleyball, which are members only. I'm not sure that the school should be involved in helping other groups that may not even be able to help themselves anymore. But in the meantime, yeah, more information that you can bring out will help sell this project, because again,
It's in a very
for the
preliminary
last
stage.
century, can I finish? For the last century, the Ys, both the YW and the YM, have stood on their own.
And the YM will continue to stand on its own.
Well, I hope so, because
Okay.
it appears it's going on public land.
Okay?
But in any case, I hope that the school is open about just how they're going to blend their programs with any public education programs. Because I think there is this general concern that members only isn't very inclusive, and the pay-to-play thing, I'm not sure you want to promote in your schools.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Any additional public comments? Okay, we'll go to the consent agenda. At this point, we have items A through E. And the consent agenda would like to recognize those individuals who are moving on, particularly science teacher at Southside Middle School, Tamara, is it Cargill? Cargile, I apologize. And school counselor Sabrina McKnight at Central High School, both of whom have given significant contributions to the system. Any other questions concerning the items in A through E of the consent agenda? Okay.
Move for approval.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Dr. Reynolds?
Great, thank you. Bring before you tonight the textbook fees for elementary, middle school, and high school students for your approval. Changes, you'll see I detailed a few of those on the memo, but then also highlighted those throughout the spreadsheets that you have. Just a quick couple notes. If you notice, I have last year's textbook fees to the right. And if you notice, we reduced the number of those fees by either some continued use of social studies, particularly at the elementary, and then after we received our study from administrative assistants on the Muncie Area Career Center, we identified that some of the costs associated with the resources and the textbooks used for the MAC was a deterrent for folks to come over to the MAC. So we've eliminated those. I should say we reduced many of those and covered those with some federal grants that Caleb has access to. Caleb and the MAC has access to. A couple of other things to know. We have added a $5 middle school textbook fee. It is so low because we're buying one classroom set and using those over the entire day, so that really reduces the cost for students, and those would be hard copy form. We do have a slight increase in our Latin books. We could have the same book but adopted the new version, and it was $2 more a semester. Extended the Spanish textbook digital access for one more year. We'll look at a possible renewal after this year. And we moved the English textbooks at our secondary buildings to continued use too. Though it was a language textbook adoption year with the caravans really not doing a lot of traveling during COVID. we decided to pause those this year and reevaluate those next year, what kind of direction we wanted to go moving forward. And then with our advanced placement courses at the high school, we adopted new textbooks to meet those requirements put out by College Board. So a few of those had a slight increase of about $2 to $4 as well.
Okay. Any questions for Dr. Reynolds?
Mainly for the benefit of the public, how do our fees compare to other schools like in Delaware County and surrounding counties?
They're lower. Our fees are lower than folks around, and especially like districts, maybe other urban districts, definitely lower.
Any additional questions for Dr. Reynolds? So the Latin textbook, is that, I assume, high school?
Yeah.
What's it centered around?
I'm not positive. It's the publisher is Cambridge, and we get a hold of folks in the UK when we when we renew the license.
See, the reason I ask is I had Latin, so.
So did I.
Yeah.
Not sure why, but I had Latin.
It was actually very, very, very beneficial for everyone watching. I thought Latin was.
It was interesting, yeah.
I didn't learn how to diagram an English sentence until I had Latin. So, and my textbook was Ovid.
Oh.
So that's probably more than anybody wanted to know.
Do you need a motion?
I do.
Motion to approve. I'd say it in Latin, if I could remember my Latin. No, I can't remember. That was a few years ago.
Would you be able to do it in Latin?
Approve. No. Amoa masamat.
Yeah, well,
Yeah. Need a second.
second.
All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. Lunch prices, Mr. Jerome?
Yes, thank you. Included in your board packet is our annual update of the upcoming school year for lunch prices. We work very close with our Chartwell's partner to make sure that we're establishing the correct prices for food. What we have here, this will be our third year for the community feeding plan, which allows us to use no charge for elementary students, middle school students, or high school students, so they are not charged anything for breakfast or lunch. Third year for that. We do, however, have to increase the price for the adult staff and adult guests. We keep the a la carte price the same. So just looking for a motion to approve for the upcoming 21-22 school year.
So for the benefit of those watching this evening, there is no charge for the standard lunch for any of our students at MCS?
That is correct.
Breakfast or lunch, okay. Any questions for Mr. Jerome? Okay, entertain a motion.
So moved.
We will call Dr. O'Neill's the motion and Mrs. Bales the second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Okay. Mr. Jerome, the financial report.
Thank you. Also included in your board packet is the financial notes, financial results for the month of June 2021. We'll have a lot more information for you as next month when we talk about our annual budget presentation. But what this does here, this establishes our cash balances and sets our funds as we go into the budget process. They take the snapshot at the end of this fiscal year of June of 21, and then your budget process goes out over the next 18 months of spending, the next 18 months of revenue. So in this case, still receiving the state basic grant like we have been promised by the state of Indiana. And so far so good with that. We did make our debt payments as we expect. In the month of June, we paid $2.5 million of our debt payments set up according to our amortization schedules. We still finished the end of June with almost $31 million in our overall cash balance. That was slightly up compared to the start of the school year, or start of the calendar year back in January, and still anticipating having a surplus position in the education fund by the end of this calendar year at the end of December. And we're down to $11.4 million will be the outstanding school loan for the state of Indiana. So.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jerome concerning the financial report? Okay. Would entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. How are we doing on, Ms. Phelps, on recruitment of faculty?
We are doing very well. I would have to say that from every conversation I have, our candidates are aware of the increases that the board has given in the past 2 years. And that really has brought us very, very fine candidates. So it's going very well, the enthusiasm that we have. And we have had to come back. Just recommended to Dr. K, a counselor who had been with us previously and excited about the job.
Anything you need from the board in terms of filling positions, or do you feel good about where you are right now?
I feel very, very good about where we are right now, and I know Brad and I are, talking, and you guys can get some things when it comes to support staff.
Okay, okay.
That's what we're gearing up for right now.
We'd like to have meetings next week possibly to bring that support staff recommendation to the
Okay.
next
Okay,
board meeting if possible.
yeah, I'll set a meeting.
That's where we're struggling is our instructional assistants. Dialing calls and offers, and when she tells the starting rate, they can't do it.
Okay. Summer programs, how have those gone?
They're going fantastic. We've been having great luck with our summer programs, and many students are having good experiences. But all the way from preschool all the way up to our high school. So they're going well.
We had about, I think it was a little over 300 students enrolled in the high school programs.
Wow, okay.
That's amazing.
So, online and marching band. It's been great.
So speaking of that, do you want to give a plug?
Yeah, absolutely. So, spent the last couple evenings over at the high school. The band, they're just great to watch and work, and tremendous group of kids and adults helping them out. Contests begin on Saturday at Centerville High School. A few precautions that CITSA is taking at our preliminary events, where they're going to empty the stands at halftime. So if your band's in the first half, so if you notice entrance at 8 o'clock, the band's in the second half, so you can't enter until after halftime. No football game at halftime, unlike normally when you have the band at halftime.
Yeah.
Right. So no football game, but you can enter after halftime. But it starts Saturday. They're going to do a little parent preview this Friday at the end of rehearsal, just to kind of get things geared up. You'll see the contest will run every weekend up to the start of school. And our contest is the second biggest. We had a band pull out, so now we're the second biggest contest up at Central on Saturday, July 4th. We'll have 22 bands.
24th, right?
What's that?
24th?
Yes, on the 24th, we'll have 22 bands. Yeah.
Okay, so those of you wanting something to do that's be wonderful entertainment on the 24th at Muncie Central, 22 bands.
Yep.
Following week, you have another, is it the car show?
Oh, yeah, so the car show will have,
The 31st.
that event is before, and then at 9 o'clock, they will do 2 runs, and that's free to the public as well. And that'll be at the stadium there at Central.
Do you have fundraisers for the band?
Yeah, so they will do several throughout the year. They just did I think they did a trash bag sale, if I'm not mistaken. Do you?
Yeah,
They
there
did
was
a
one.
trash bag sale and some other things. That band contest is a really big fundraiser.
Okay, great.
If the band could get me some of those blue recycle bags because I pay less forces me to actually buy.
I feel guilty putting anything else in it, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now people getting in trouble. Okay. Any further questions regarding any matter? Thank you to all of you for the summer programming. And one of the things I I do want to plant for consideration for next year. And I don't know what this looks like, or even if it's a good idea or a terrible idea, is some form where we have, call it what you will, Muncie, acceleration of Muncie readers or something like that, where we're looking at kids entering first grade, second grade, and third grade, where we have a concentrated reading event, program, camp, call it what you will. The idea is ill-defined at this point, but in thinking about I Read 3 and again, we've talked about learning loss off of the last 14 months, and the phrase I'm hearing, and it's probably a buzzword, but acceleration as opposed to remediation. That remediation tends to have a negative connotation. So I don't know if that makes any difference or not, but just a thought as we, again, go into next year and getting our third grade readers ready, or maybe a jump on the year. Anything additional?
May I have one?
Sure.
I should have said it during my opening comments, but to the right of me, I have Cynthia Miller, since we have two Cindy Millers in Muncie. Becky retired, and she's been in with a big smile as she spends lots of time at her lake house. But Cindy comes to us from Colorado, Colorado Springs, worked for a superintendent of they have area superintendents. They're very large. So she comes in with a lot of the background knowledge. She stepped in this week, and you would think she's been working for us for a year. She just has hit the ground running, and so we're glad to have Cindy with us.
Welcome, Cindy. Another item which I neglected to mention at the outset, and I should have, is that for vaccinated folks in these meetings, masks are optional. We will have the recommendation of the administration for the next meeting in terms of reopening. Many schools are coming out, obviously Richmond yesterday. There are, as I mentioned before the meeting started, some concerns around the state of Indiana as we're seeing pockets of the disease heavily locating itself among unvaccinated folks. So to the extent folks aren't vaccinated, please consider doing so. Anything further?
I do want to say something. I just want to give honor to Charles Mcphee. He was a longtime school teacher in Muncie Community Schools for about 30 years. Started in 1966 at Garfield, and he taught at Claypool and Longfellow, and then he retired after 30 years in 1996. But he passed away on July 5th, and I just wanted to honor him.
So Charles McPeak, and what did he teach, elementary?
He taught elementary school, so math, English, all the things. But he started at Garfield, then he went to Claypool, and then he retired at Longfellow, 30 years with our school.
Okay.
And he passed away on Monday. And so I had told his daughter, Anissa McPhee, they all have kind of come through our school system. And this is currently the daughter-in-law of Ermeline Faulkner, right?
Okay.
So it just all kind of goes through. But he has always been a long-time educator and advocate for social justice. And I told her, we grew up together at Trinity United Methodist Church, and he was like the first non-Black man to kind of hug me and embrace me and encourage me on my educational journey. So I just needed to say, well done, Mr. McPhee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I want to add something too to
Sure.
that. He encouraged me on my journey. He was in third grade at Garfield, my first TWAC. So he contributed to making me the man I am right now. I was throwing snowballs when I shouldn't have been.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Mr. McPeak Sounds like to me, Mr. McPhee knew when to give encouragement and knew when to give encouragement. So, it's raining, so we'll send people out in the rain. Any media questions? Yes.
Yeah, Rick Yentzer with 150. I want to clarify so we don't misinform the superintendent about hiring. Did you say that you're having problems hiring because you're not paying teachers enough?
No.
No.
What did you say then?
We
So
said
we're-
specifically, I'll take care of it.
Okay.
We said specifically that we are having difficulty hiring support staff, which is an hourly position.
Support staff.
And we are addressing the support staff compensation at the next meeting.
Okay, so you will take action.
Yes. And we had made that clear at a prior meeting, at the time we did the teacher compensation, that the support staff compensation would be addressed at the cusp of the starting of school.
And something the controller said is the state loan the only debt now carried by school corporation. Do you still have property tax bonds that you're repaying?
No, well, we have the state debt that we're repaying, and we're servicing bonds that those,
We have
Yeah.
still currently have a general obligation bond, and a lease renewal bond. still outstanding.
yeah.
In amount of,
That's a little over probably $25 million or so. I'll have all that for us next month, when I get my budget presentation. So I'll have all those items for you. We're just paying off our normal amortization schedule, all the normal debts.
thank you.
Any additional questions?
The support staff, will those have benefits or will these be hourly positions that don't have benefits? That's going to be on the budget or not?
Well, we have different positions within it, and so we have full-time staff that have benefits, part-time staff, some with benefits, and then we have a requisition staff that do not have benefits. And so there are different layers, so it depends when they accept and what type of job where they fall. Sure.
But no, compensation is what's, for all of those positions, is what's, we're expecting a recommendation on. And then administrators will be then after enrollment is pulled together. So any additional questions? Okay, would entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Everybody have a nice evening.
Thanks.
Yeah.